All right. So we're talking about building a house. And this is typically, we would have seen a lot of times, the input, process, output. And any form of business comes like this. A transformation happens from input to output, and the transformation is done during the process. Whether you want food in the kitchen, whether you want car in the factory, whether you want some service to be offered, there is some input, there is a process, there is an output. And we all know the foundation of all that is an organized workplace. Let us take the example of service industry today. A recruitment process. What is the input for recruitment process? Let us all see in the comment box. I'll give you 10 seconds. What is the recruitment process? We are in the HR department and we are in the process of recruitment. The output is you give an offer letter, the candidate has already joined the company. Okay. The offer letter is not the output, but the candidate coming to the companies is. So job description is an input, correct? What else? Please bring it on. Job description is an input. Okay. There is a requirement that is given, shortlisted CVs, right? All right. Now, what is the process? Process is filtering these people, understanding. Yeah, interview is a part of the process. There is an interview process. And you can take interview itself as a standalone process. When you talk from raise a request for recruiting a person. Suppose if I'm the factory head, I wanted a manager under me. I raise a request to the HR team, starting from that to the person joining the organization, and I start inducting him. Yeah, different levels of interview, filtering, decision making, all that is individual processes. And the entire thing is a value stream. Recruitment process is the transactional value stream. Now, what is workplace organization in that? What is workplace organization in that? Suppose I'm talking about workplace organization. Let's see some thought process here. Yeah, files arrangement. You wanted to bring the job description of someone. The organization structure has to be clearly identified. The computers have to be, the folders have to be clearly identified, right? And everything should be organized. People should not be, if a same person applies again and he has been rejected before, they should be able to find out immediately. All that, okay? So if that is clear on a scale of 1 to 10, give it 9 or 10. If the workplace organization is just not the physical workplace, okay? Even the mental workplace, even the systems place things in the system. Second, we introduce a word called Mura and Muri. Please take good notes, okay? Muda is a Japanese word for waste. Muda means it is waste. Mura is variation, instability, imbalance, okay, unevenness. Variation, instability, unevenness, okay, inconsistency, etc., etc. Whatever is the equivalent synonyms of that. And Muri is overburden. And we will get into the definition of Muda later, but there are different forms of waste. And we will also dive into 7 waste, 8 waste. There are acronyms for that. But what we will eventually find out is, if waste is there in the system, you can type imbalance also, Anish. If waste is there in the system, it will lead to instability. It will lead to variation. It will lead to inconsistency. Okay. For example, if you're working in the kitchen, let us take the recruitment process. Now, if the people are not able to communicate effectively the job description in the first instance, it will go back and forth. Okay. In transactional value stream mapping, we'll calculate something called as the percentage correct and completion. All of you can type percentage CC. like overall in manufacturing value streams, we talk about process cycle efficiency, but here we talk about percentage correct and completeness. Okay. And so if that is not correct, if it is not done right the first time, it is a waste. And that will lead to variation. And people spend the midnight oil. People are pressurized with the recruitment. And that is where they get overburdened and moody. So once you stabilize the system, you standardize it. And in recruitment process, you need man, machines, materials, and methods and measurements. What does man mean in recruitment? The people who are working. The recruiter. You can type whatever other people who are involved in recruitment. The input is man. What are machines in recruitment? The software. The place where the columns are filled. The software, the place where columns are filled. What are materials in that? All that, resumes, all that requisitions. What are methods in that? The process of, data, a lot of data bank, job profiles, job descriptions, organization structures, and methods. The method of receiving the requisition receiving process. The method of talking to the vendor and getting resume shortlisting process. And then interviewing process. Then offer negotiation process or offer letter process. All that are methods. And finally, what is it? Once he comes to the company, induction process, the starting point, how you put him on roles, right? You give him ID cards and things like that. Measure. There is also measurement. Background verification process. Very good. Background verification process. Very, very important. Very, very important, particularly at the senior level. Right? Thanks for that, Guptaji. Okay. Now, what is the process? The process, the recruiters, the HR persons, and the person who is giving the requisition, they should follow the standards. The recruiter will say, if you don't give me the requisition, I'm not going to proceed further. So there is a standard. He has to follow that. Like even if you want to get something from the stores, so even if I have to give some recruitment, I'll have to follow some standards. And medical examination has got some standards. And background verification is a standard. So standard, do, check, and act. SDCA is standard, have a particular standard of working, do as per standard, check or verify as per standard. And if there are gaps, you do that adjustment to ensure that the standards are followed. If the standards are inadequate or irrelevant, okay, improve the standard. Okay, so PDCA. PDCA is you plan, do, check, and act. So finally, we need to have quality, cost, and delivery. What is quality in recruitment? What is quality in recruitment? Output. What is quality in recruitment? What is cost in recruitment? What is delivery in recruitment? All right. So cost is the right choice. Okay, person with the right skill set, right tool set, right mindset. We evaluate people for technical skills, functional skills, and behavioral skills, right? And within our budget. And also, we need to get the candidate when we need it, right? It's not that it should be indefinitely delayed. Okay, so if this recruitment process of this explanation of the Gemba House is clear, Give it a 9 or 10 if it is super clear. Okay. Superb. So the same thing model is applicable for any process. You have to categorize as input, process, output. If output is not okay, check the inputs and the process. First, check the inputs. Make sure inputs are okay. Then you look at the process.